Hey, what's going on? How is everybody tonight? Good to see y'all. It's been a minute. There's a bunch of people here. What's going on, Harrison? Let me just say hello to a couple friends. What's going on out there in the land of YouTube? Do me a favor, take your finger just real quick and hit the like button. So just so more people know the live is going on. And if you don't like the live, you could take your like away later. But for now, let's just send it out to the universe that we are here and we are broadcasting. And so we are broadcasting ourselves. Dan Fizzle, what is going on, Dan? How are you? Got your email. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. What is going on? What is going on with the Playboy? What's going on? So tell me something good. It's been a couple days, been a few days. I'm absolutely engulfed in what I'm doing right now. So we're still putting some videos out here, and there's still some videos being put out. But I'm super busy. I'm beyond busy. And there's so many things that I'm doing right now behind the scenes. I just got a new retainer. As you guys know, these teeth right here are fake because I've had them knocked out. So I have a new retainer. So I kind of have until my Chevy. What's up, Chevy? Good to see you. Thank you for the super chat. Rick, what's going on? Mr. Douglas, what is going on? What is going on with the Playboys? What is going on out there? I want to leave my glasses on just for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to show you guys a couple of things. Big announcement tonight. So this is kind of exciting. There's a lot going on in my life. I'll tell you that. I'm really busy. I want to say something. See, you hear the like a lisp. I almost want to go back to my other retainer, but I want to say something. Without lisping. The wheels of justice take a long time to go around. The legal system that we have in the United States of America, even though there is corruption all through it, every once in a while you can get justice out of it. And I'm talking about, I don't want to go into too much detail. This channel is about changing the system, about overturning Terry versus Ohio, my own. There's things I'm involved with legally that certainly are newsworthy because of the steps I'm taking to try to change things in the bigger picture. But if you are a person who really cares about getting justice, you can get it through the court system. If you want to, and you're willing to put your time and effort and energy behind people who have wronged you. And, I wanted to keep my abilities in the legal system and my knowledge of constitutional law strictly to what the mission is, which is to overturn Terry versus Ohio, to get cameras in the courtroom, in every single courtroom in America. You should not have to go, your rights should not end at the courtroom door. And so my mission, the mission that I started 2 years ago when I started speaking out loud on social media platforms, is to overturn Terry versus Ohio. And there are 5 cases that are some of the most important. You have Kerr versus California, Brinegar, Carroll versus United States, Terry versus Ohio, and Graham versus Connor. These cases have to be overturned, or we will never, ever, ever have freedom in this country. You cannot have freedom with proactive policing because we have Terry versus Ohio. And this is, I don't go live very much anymore because YouTube is just hammering my channel. We're still growing because you guys are sharing the videos and liking and commenting. And thank you so much. That's how you can support me the most, which is what I wanted to announce tonight. There's 2 things I'm going to announce. Number 1, I made new trifolds. I have them here somewhere. I made new trifolds, and I inserted a little plastic piece in here, and it raised the price about $3, but I'm going back down to the original price of $24.99. I lose $3 of revenue, but now you can put your license, your registration, and proof of insurance. I lowered the price back down to $25 because I want people to get them, and I don't want a $5 barrier to entry. I want you to get them. we've given away, Delete Lawz clips and I have given away so many of these this week. And then, I want to just stay as close to I can as on what I came here to do. And so the crowd that I have here, I want to make sure that we know what our mission here is. As long as you have Terry versus Ohio, we don't stop, because as long as there is Terry versus Ohio, right now there is another human being in this country being stopped by someone who's not qualified to decide they're suspicious of anything. And reasonable articulable suspicion was created in 1968 under a landmark Supreme Court case where there were white supremacists on the court who ruled against John Terry, that said that it was perfectly reasonable for Martin McFadden to run up and put his hands all over John Terry. And they said because McFadden could do it to John Terry, they then expanded police powers to stop and frisk, which is now instituted all over our country. So we have a mission on this channel, and it has a lot to do with the First Amendment and a lot to do with the Fourth Amendment. And we need to get cameras in the courtroom. We are seeing time and time again that the reason why you can't get cameras in the courtroom is because you can't broadcast the injustice that is happening to you. You can't show it, because then it would prove that we don't have a criminal justice there's no criminal justice. It's criminal injustice, and it's an industry. So we have got to get cameras in every courtroom at every level, including the federal level. These old geezers who are appointed that don't belong being appointed for life to the Supreme Court, it's got to change. So now there's another thing. And then, for people who were waiting, I finally got the t-shirts in. Woo! I finally got t-shirts in. Yay! I finally got t-shirts in. Listen, I'm not going to put these on my website. I'm horrible at it. I don't like getting. I will post how many we have of which size. I got some double XLs. I finally have the t-shirts in. There's 3 people who I owe t-shirts. I think 1 canceled their order, but I finally got the t-shirts in. I don't know if I have every size in, but I've got probably 2 or 3 dozen. So the best way is to just reach out to me and say, hey, what size do you have in? And what can I get on those t-shirts? And then I'll hit you back and I'll send it to you. So I finally got them in. Finally. And as you guys know, the reason why I don't have t-shirts in Teespring, and I know DLZ Clips just put sweatshirts in to Teespring, which I really don't want to sell sweatshirts through Teespring, but DLZ Clips is doing what he has to do, because we got to keep the wheels in the car. So, but I only buy t-shirts that are great. I've had this t-shirt for over a year. I've had the same t-shirt. I've washed this t-shirt 100 times. I've had the same t-shirt for over a year. I only sell the best t-shirts there are. I get the top of the line, and this is tri-blade. It says we don't stop on the front, and then on the back it says overturn Terry versus Ohio, which is everything that we're about. That's the whole kit and caboodle. And I've had these in Texas for the past several months, and I didn't want to buy a bunch more t-shirts. So contact me, delete Lawz or delete Lawz clips at Gmail, and let me know if you want a t-shirt, and PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, because I'm not putting these back on my website, because when I do, what happens is I get orders for t-shirts I don't have, and then I can't send that t-shirt because it's not the right size, and it actually weighs on me that I owe somebody a t-shirt. It weighs on my soul. You owe a t-shirt. So then, there's been a lot of, so have I covered everything? There is a mission on this channel. I want to really try to stay on track and stay focused with the people, because the few times my ADHD can go really off track. And so I want to cover each individual issue the best I can and then come back. So the first thing is I've taken legal action against people who I warned to stop, and they didn't. And so I'm now following through on that legal action. And that includes, as you guys know, Las Vegas PD. So there is a path to justice if you're tenacious enough and willing enough, and you have people like I have on my team who I'm so grateful who helped me. You can go after people through the legal system if they wrong you and you feel like damages have been done to you. And I wouldn't go after people if I didn't feel like I had been damaged in some way. And then I'm suing the cops. And then the second thing was mission. Overturn Terry versus Ohio, continue to push our First Amendment right, and get cameras in the courtroom. You should be fighting at the courtroom door that you can't get your camera in the courtroom, no matter what courtroom you're in, state or federal. Whether you're in Ohio or Michigan or Florida or New York, wherever you are, you should fight to get your camera in the door of that courtroom. And I personally, I take extreme measures to make sure that I have a recording of that. I have a recording of it because the judge will change the record. He will tell the reporter, change the record here. And you won't get the proper record if there's not some way that you got the audio or the video or both. So I go to extreme measures. You're not going to hide the record from me. If it's a public hearing, then it's a public hearing. And I'm willing to take my chances to make sure that I get the audio. At the very minimum, make sure I get the audio. So we have got to fight for mission. Or what are we doing? Or what are we doing here? You know, to the people who are here, you guys know, I mean, the people who really know me that I have relationships with who are in, like Scrubzilla knows who I am a little bit. We've been in touch, DLZ Clips, and there's people, Jason and Butch, the original, has been with me since Ironton. There's people who know I wake up in the morning trying to figure out how to change things, and then I work on it until I fall asleep. So that's what I do with my day. And that's what I've done all day today. I planned this right here all day long. I've been planning this moment with you since I woke up, since last night. I've been planning this moment with you here and now, figuring out the exact syllabus I wanted to go over for this particular chat with my friends and family and people who I have grown to love and respect and care about. There's a big community of people here. Everybody, just put in the chat real quick, I love you, because I love you. Just share the love real quick. Just put it out there. I love you. Just say it out loud. I love you, people. I love you, because we are the same. We are the same peons to this government and to this system, and we are the resistance. So I love each and every one of you. And thank you guys for supporting me. Listen, when you buy my trifold, it helps you. It supports me. It supports me. This YouTube, I've had a couple really spectacular months on YouTube. Other than that, YouTube is a, it's not, everybody knows what they do. They know what they do to us. So thank you for your support. And I literally love and care about so many of you. I've become so close friends with so many of you. I have so many little relationships with you guys. So then what I'm doing now, just so you guys know, is I'm now blogging out. I want to show you guys this. I am blogging out how to do things, because remember, I have a lot of knowledge and I'm able to share some stuff, but let me get my face off the screen here and zoom into this. Forgive me. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm kind of going through here, and when you go to DeleteLawz.com, you go to the blog, and what I'm doing is I'm posting a blog or two a day that shows, like right now, the big question going on in America is what's going on with the ATF. And so what I'm doing is I'm explaining in great detail exactly, there's a growing call from Americans to abolish the ATF, and for good reason. The ATF, or Bureau of Tobacco, Alcohol, and Firearms and Explosives, is an agency within the Department of Justice that has a history of overstepping its boundaries and infringing on the Second Amendment of law-abiding citizens. The agency's recent decision to change the rules regarding pistol braces is just the latest example of its overreach. What gives the ATF authority? The ATF was created in 1972 under the Gun Control Act, which gave it the power to regulate firearms explosives. However, the agency's power has expanded over the years, and it's now has the ability to change its own rules without going through Congress. This lack of oversight has led to abuses of power, such as the recent decision to reclassify pistol braces as illegal. It's important to know that the ATF is part of the executive branch and operates under the direction of the president. This means that Congress does not have direct control over the agency unless they strip it of power by repealing the 1934 National Firearms Act and the 1968 Gun Control Act. That's not likely to happen. But who's in charge of the ATF? Currently, acting director of the ATF is Steve Dettelbach, a former federal prosecutor with no expertise in firearms. His job is to ensure that individuals go to jail and the ATF enforces rules they make, regardless of how arbitrary or unconstitutional those rules may be. One of the examples of the ATF's abuse of power is the Matt Hoover case, who was arrested and charged with selling machine guns. Hoover was arrested by the ATF when they changed the rules for what they previously were. He's currently in jail, a victim of the ATF's arbitrary and capricious enforcement of its own rules. It's also worth noting the ATF has not been successful in preventing mass shootings. The agency did not prevent the shooting in Columbine, Sandy Hook, Las Vegas, Mandalay Bay, Uvalde, Texas, or the Parkland, Florida high school shooting. There are scores of other shootings that could be listed here that the ATF had absolutely zero success in stopping. Despite the ATF's effort, the number of shootings in America has only increased, and many of the shooters have been found to be on some form of pharmaceutical medication. The ATF's existence has been futile. So now this is going to go on, and so what I'm just showing you here is, if you want to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be posting. There's a couple different blogs on Delete Lawz right now that you can read. That all I do is take the knowledge I already have and apply it so you can read it. And feel free to fact check it, put it into Google, put it into ChatGPT, and look up if what I'm saying is true. You can see there's some typos in there. I made some typos as I was reading, and sometimes when I speak, there's some typos. However, when I write down text, it's very rarely incorrect because I've researched it and I've looked it up. So everything that I wrote in there is spot on about the ATF. And so then I think the other blog I posted in there was why you don't answer questions to the police. So if I close this here, then I'll show you what this other blog looks like. And this is just, and I'm going to send out a newsletter, a mailer, so that everybody can read the blogs. And I'm just going to, so if you've bought anything from my store, if you've registered through DeleteLawz.com, if you've commented on any of the products, the trifolds or posters or anything like that, then I have your email address. It's registered, and I'm going to start sending out an email a week that has all the blogs that I wrote that week. So I'll get a little feedback from you guys as I start these mailers, 1 or 2 emails a week. 2023 was the year to get organized. So that's what I'm trying to do, to organize all of the thoughts and all of the people in this movement for change, for real change. And if you guys notice, when I write in the blog, because you guys know when I talk to coppers or I talk to you guys, when I talk to coppers or I talk to you guys, I'm a little bit liberal with the piggies and pigettes and the pigtails and the fact that they half of them are evil and violent, thug, pig, bootlick, just horrifically bad people. However, in the blog, I don't do any of that. I make sure that I write in a way that is really rated PG, and more than that, rated G, because I want people to be able to go and read, so why you don't answer police questions. So, I've been doing this particular thing for 2 decades plus, where I've involved myself with peace officers. And so pulled over, why you don't talk. And so this goes into really a clear, getting pulled over by the police can be stressful and intimidating experience, especially if you're not sure how to handle the situation. One of the most important things to remember is that you have the right to remain silent and speak with a lawyer. Unfortunately, many people make the mistake of answering questions from the police, which can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. One potential pitfall of talking to the police when pulled over is that answering one question could lead to more questions. For example, if a police officer asked, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" and you answered, "I was going a little too fast," the officer may follow up with more questions such as, "Where are you going?" or "Have you been drinking tonight?" If you answer these questions, it may give the police officer more reasons to suspect you of a crime. Furthermore, if you answer one question, the police may expect you to answer all of their questions. If you refuse to answer the next question, they may accuse you of not cooperating or even obstructing justice. This can put you in a difficult situation and make it harder to assert your rights later on. It's important to remember that you are not obligated to answer any questions that could incriminate you or waive your rights. You can politely assert your claim to remain silent and request to speak with the lawyer. If the police continue to pressure you or make accusations, it's best to remain calm and avoid escalating the situation. You have the right to protect yourself and assert your legal rights. The reality is that anything you say to the police can and will be used against you in court. Even if you think you're innocent, answering questions can give the police ammunition to use against you. For example, if the police ask you if they can search your car and you say yes, they may find something incriminating, even if you didn't realize it was there, like a yogurt stain on your console. They can believe it's methamphetamines. We've seen it on video. In addition, the potential legal consequences, there are other reasons to avoid talking to the police when pulled over. For one, you may inadvertently say something that could make the situation worse. Additionally, talking to the police can be emotionally taxing and even traumatizing, especially if you've had negative experiences with police in the past. When you're pulled over by the police, it's critical to remember your right to remain silent and speak with a lawyer. Answering one question will lead to more questions, which will put you in a difficult situation and make it harder for you to assert your rights later. By remaining silent and asserting your right to speak with a lawyer, you can protect yourself and ensure that your words are not used against you in court. Remember, the burden of proof is on the prosecution. You have the right to make them prove their case. In liberty, delete Lawz. So, I'm just gonna take the thoughts that I have every day, and I'm gonna articulate them and then post them on a blog, and then I'll send out a weekly mailer to you guys. So if you haven't registered on DeleteLawz.com, I'm going to start putting a lot of traffic. I'm even going to start putting some videos on Delete Lawz because I'm really tired of being censored. So I'm going to take some videos that I feel that you guys absolutely. So for example, obviously I can't show you all this video. I'm sorry. The video is 2 years old. I saw this video today, and this video is atrocious. Watching this man, and I can't show it. I can't show it. So it really makes me upset that I can't show it. So, and I'm gonna show you guys the video. I'm gonna show you a part of the video, and I'm gonna put a link for the description in the video. And I want you guys, OTVO. I just saw it in the chat. Let me match that real quick. Overturn Terry versus Ohio. Overturn Terry versus Ohio. That's the mission. That is the mission. That's the mission. That goes, and a cascade of Supreme Court cases fall because they all hinge on Terry versus Ohio. So I put the OTVO in the chat. Do me a favor, OTVO. So yeah, listen, I'm going to show you just a little snippet of this video so you guys can see it. And I want you guys to, I want you to watch the whole thing and listen to the man say that he's having a hard time functioning, and he's having a hard time. Okay. So, I have to be careful what I share because they already have my account so hammered here. That's the way you can really help this channel the most. Like, share, subscribe the videos, show some of these cool videos that you like to your friends. That's how you could really help the most, because they, DLZ clips will tell you they are hammering us. The analytics are down like 70-75%. So, and also, I'm probably doing other stuff. I could do more audits for sure. But this video right here, let me see what you guys see. Okay. So this video right here is someone sent this to me, and I guess this is ongoing here. So they're on top of him, and he's saying he can't breathe, and he's a veteran, and he's,
please help.
He's on the, they've put him on the ground. They put him in torture cuffs. I'm
being assaulted and battered. Please help me. Please help. Somebody help. Help me. Somebody help me.
So anyway, let me copy the link here and put it down here so that I can continue to have a YouTube channel and I don't get completely kicked off YouTube. This comes from Blind Justice. If you guys want to take a look at this, this is just appalling. I don't want to cry because I'm having such a good day, but I can feel the emotion welling up inside of me. So I watched this already today, and they threw him on the ground, and pretty soon it gets to where, you know, I'll just get to where I can't show anything here, but I can get to where it gets here, and he starts to say, of course, that he can't breathe. He can't breathe. So, okay, there it is. So that's it. You know, that's all I'm going to show of that. So I put the link in down there so you guys can read that down there, but pretty horrifically bad. Pretty horrifically bad. So as you guys see, you'll see my comments on that video, and you'll see that I liked and I subscribed to Blind Justice, and he shared that. So I thought that was a really heart-wrenching thing. So a lot of the traffic is going to go to the website. And then I got an email from Dan Fizzle. Dan Fizzle. You say Fizzle, I say Fizzle. Fizzle. Mr. Fizzle. I don't know how to say his name properly. But I met Dan in Ohio when I was touring the country, and showing that there's corruption in absolutely every single part of this country, no matter where I go. No matter which city or state I stop in, I think I was actually on my way to go investigate James Sheets' murder to make sure that the body cam would be released. They wouldn't release the body cam before I'd gotten there. And so then when I got there, I went to the police department, and you guys saw what I did there in Youngstown, where I kind of said, hey, look, you will release the body cam or we'll sue you. And we started to draft a lawsuit against them. And so then they released the body cam footage. And so, and then we uncovered the murder of James Sheets. Literally, we saw them planting a gun one way or the other. You know, KNRW radio thinks they planted it when they leaned through the window. I think they planted it by throwing it over guns in the floorboard. You know, that's what I think. But, you know, I guess it's just, how'd they murder him? How did they kill him? How did they kill him? How did it happen? How did they murder this man? Did they murder him like this, or did they murder him like that? I mean, I laugh because it's uncomfortable, but you know, the murder of James Sheets, in my opinion, you know, BCI and the detective over there, I think his name's Bansky, Detective Bansky at BCI, who I've called several times. What a scumbag, bro. Like, you guys are scumbags. And I don't want to get negative, so I want to just keep it on I'm getting a lot done. I'm doing a lot of things. So I'm super, super busy getting a lot of things done. And the Georgia Gazette, subscribe to the Georgia. Oh, I can't. Oh, I see. I have to put this in 12foot.io. Okay. So there's a website, if you guys are unfamiliar with it, it's www.12ft.io. 12ft.io. You guys can put that in the chat. So what happened is, looked like Dan sent me a couple of news articles that require that I join their website. So 12foot.io, it says 10-foot paywall, 12-foot ladder. So it's something that I use. I wonder if it's going to work for the Georgia Gazette. But if I don't have it here, Dan Fizzle, Dan. Hey, listen, I'm just kidding. So I like Dan. Then make sure you take screenshots of what you sent me, because I don't know if 12foot.io is working for this one. It says join our. I'm in. Oh, let me see if I can just put over there in Cop City, Atlanta. Can I say no? Oh, how do I get around this? I'm okay. So here it is. Okay, cool. So this says that 3 activists are being charged with felonies. This is pretty crazy. So what do you guys see? Let me pop over to StreamYard and let me make it big so you guys don't need to see my face here. So this says that if you guys are unfamiliar with Cop City, I'll come on for 2 seconds here. So there is Cop City in Atlanta. They have carved out, like, I don't know how many dozens of acres to create a military-like compound base for training for police officers. It's a standing army, and we have to stop it we have to stop it. We want to get rid of law enforcers in our country. And so the Cop City in Atlanta is just a way to expand and continue to have the militarization of police. And whether it's Biden's plan or Trump's plan or Clinton's plan or Jimmy Carter's plan, they're all, I mean, I don't know if Jimmy Carter would, but it's pretty disgusting. The militarization of police, and then how more training equals more of them treating us like, you saw from, if you guys read the ATF blog on the website, you'll see that the United States government sees you and I as terrorists. Even though I continually preach nonviolence, petitioning, assembling, sue people, sue them. Do not physically beat them up. I want, if I could, I would give you a knuckle sandwich, boy. But I'm damn near 50. I got to stop fist fighting people. I've stopped since I was 25 anyway. But I can't go beating people up. But the militarization of police has got to change. So this is what's going on over there in Cop City. I'll read a little bit of this to you guys. It says 3 activists involved in the Defend Atlanta Forest movement are facing felony intimidation of an officer of the state, a misdemeanor stalking for placing flyers on mailboxes in neighborhoods in Bartow County, Georgia, about 40 miles from Atlanta. The detainees were held for days in solitary confinement. A lawyer working on the case and a relative of one of the activists told The Intercept. The flyer, according to the lawyer, named a police officer who lives in the area where activists were arrested and alleged he was connected to the killing in January of forest defender Manuel Torguita Terán during a multi-agency raid on the Atlanta forest protest encampment. So they raided, just so you know, they raided the peaceful protest camp with multiple law enforcers and killed a dude. These people were not going onto the property that's been designated to create a standing military base for police in America. No, they were in their encampment, the peaceful protesting encampment, and they killed a longtime protester who now they earn the hate. They earn the hate. This is why they're hated. So a forensic report from the Georgia Bureau of Investigations about guns a forensic report from the Georgia Bureau Investigation about guns fired during Tortuguitas. Let me go in the chat and see if someone can give me a pronunciation of that. Could someone give me a pronunciation of that? How do I say that? Someone who's brainiac smart. How do I pronounce that? It's Tortuguita, killing named 6 state patrol officers: Bryland Myers, Jerry Paris, Jonathan Salcido, Mark Jonathan Lambo, Ronald Kagan, and Royce Za. According to public records, one of the officers named lives in the area where the activists posted flyers. Oh, so they can go where you go, but you can't go where they go. The report was obtained by the Atlanta Community Press Collective, an abolitionist nonprofit media group, through an open records request. Julia Dupuyes, an activist named Charlie, who asked that her last name be withheld for security concerns, and an activist named Wednesday were arrested at a gas station outside the town of Carterville on Friday. According to their lawyer, Laura Foster, the activists drove once through the neighborhood and placed flyers on numerous mailboxes without exiting their vehicle or approaching any residence. Forster said Wednesday and a passenger in the car, and they were as a passenger in the car and not posting flyers. So they're saying that Forster said Wednesday was a passenger in the car and she was not posting flyers. If found guilty, they could face up to 20 years in prison. You know what this reminds me of? You know what this case reminds me of? So as we read this case reminds me of reading that they're being arrested and persecuted with felonies for handing out flyers is the exact case called Cynic SCK and SCHNECK versus United States 1919. And what Sinek and his wife Elizabeth Bayer, they were arrested for handing out flyers when men were standing in line for the draft. And on the flyers, it said that the 13th Amendment had been abolished and assert your rights. You are not a slave. You do not have to sign up for the draft. So I believe his name was Charles Sinek and his wife Elizabeth were both arrested and charged with felonies and then convicted. And here's the worst part. Here's the worst part. In Sinek versus United States, it went to the Supreme Court. I believe they were charged using the 1896 Seditious Act, or was it someone can look that up for me, what they were charged, if you would, please. And so they're charged with being a traitor, essentially, and it's from the 1891 or 1896 Traitor Seditious Act or something like that. And so that's what they're charged with. And they're found guilty. And so they then request certiorari to apply to the Supreme Court to say, hey, let me out of here. I think they may have even filed a writ of habeas corpus because they were imprisoned for handing out flyers that said assert your rights. And they were imprisoned for a long time. They got years, decades in prison for handing out flyers. And that's exactly what this case sounds like. So the Supreme Court heard their case and affirmed the conviction that they were traitors to their country and that they would remain in prison. And because it was a state charge, what happened eventually was the governor of the state of New York, I think they were in New York. They could have been in New Jersey, but the governor pardoned them is how they eventually got out of prison. But they were in prison, and they were imprisoned for handing out flyers. And the Supreme Court upheld that conviction in Sinek versus United States from 1919. So it's pretty insane. Now Sinek versus United States was eventually, I don't want to go too far in it because I haven't read it in so many years now. So let's keep reading on this, what they're saying here. If found guilty, they could face up to 20 years in prison. They were not handing out flyers. They were actually extremely careful in trying to avoid doing anything illegal. They posted the flyers on mailboxes. They did not even get out of the van to put flyers on doors, and did not open mailboxes because they thought it was potentially illegal to open someone's mailbox. The attorney added that the activists certainly had no intention to intimidate the officer. Oh, you poor little baby. Cops are so scared and were trying to spread awareness about the police killing. They went to his encampment and murdered him. All three arrestees are being held in Bartow County Jail. All were denied bond by a magistrate. My God, this is Sinek in 2023. None of the defendants has a criminal history, nor is there any allegation of violence in the current charges. Denying them bond was extreme, said Forrester. According to Forrester, as well as Dupuy's brother, Nicholas Keys Dupuis, how do I say that proper? Dupuis, whatever. The activists were held in solitary confinement until Tuesday. No reasons were given by the jail, according to the attorney. So, there is a lot of argument that solitary confinement is cruel and unusual punishment. And if you guys go back through my videos, I give a really detailed history of prisons and how they started. And the very first prisons were in Pennsylvania. And I believe that it was, I really don't want to misspeak because people hold me to the fire if I ever say anything wrong. So I don't want to misspeak on it, but I believe it was, and I don't want to say the wrong religion. If I don't know 100% now, I'm just like so weary because I don't want to be, believe it was, but the Quakers, because so when you go back to William Penn, he's going to found Pennsylvania based, and the prison was way before William Penn. So now I know it was a religious particular group that came up with the idea of solitary confinement so that you would have time to think about what you had done wrong. But study after study has shown us that putting people in solitary confinement makes them worse. It makes them a worse person. It makes their brain not function properly. It detaches them from society, which once you start to dehumanize another human being, you can do untold things to that person because you can't humanize them anymore because your brain doesn't work properly because you've gone crazy. So when that person gets out, it makes that person who we put in solitary confinement, makes that person more dangerous for you and for me. So absolutely terrifying. So spokesperson for the Bartow County Sheriff's Office and District Attorney's Office did not respond to a request for comment, nor did the Georgia State Patrol. Last month, an official autopsy report revealed that Tortuguita, 26, was shot at least 57 times when police stormed the protest encampment. Repressive policing has escalated in recent months against the movement to stop a $90 million police training center called Cop City from being built atop Atlanta's forest. 42 movement participants currently face state domestic terrorism charges for allegedly engaging in minor property damage, the evidence for which is as flimsy as police citing mud on protesters' shoes. Organizers trying to stop Cop City see the latest arrest as a part of an extreme overreach and effort to silence outrage over Tortuguita's killing. Ever since the state police killed Tortuguita, their top priority has been to keep the situation quiet. Now that the public is calling attention to it, police are doubling down, said Marlon Kautz, an Atlanta-based organizer with the Atlanta Solidarity Fund, which provides bail funds and legal support to protesters. It's exactly the same strategy they used before against Stop Cop City protesters. Wave around extreme charges, throw activists in jail without bail, and hope that the problem goes away. Nicholas Dupuis said that The Intercept that his family learned of his 24-year-old sister's arrest upon receiving a call from animal control in Cartersville explaining that they had her dog and that she's been arrested. While Julia Dupuis, a freelance writer and anti-racist activist, is primarily based in Massachusetts, she spent a number of months in Atlanta as a part of Stop the Cop City movement. According to their attorney, Charlie is a camp counselor who works with targeted communities in Atlanta, and Wednesday is an Atlanta-based artist and activist. Both have Atlanta addresses, according to Bartow County Jail records. Officials in Atlanta, including the police, have sought to demonize. The word was split. Officials in Atlanta, including the police, have sought to demonize forest defenders as outside agitators. The attack, historically used to discredit civil rights struggles, has failed to gain popular purchase. The movement, which made a wide call for supporters to join, is explicit in seeking to connect the local fight to stop Cop City and save Atlanta forests with a national and international movements against the environmental and racism and police violence, which, a lot of people who are on YouTube, who are not on TikTok, remember the Black communities, which Atlanta is, has known that cops were scumbags for a really long time. The Black community has known that cops were brutal, lying, horrible jackboot thugs for decades and decades. And we, the lighter skinned populace, my father was Colombian, they put him in a dungeon for 20 years, and that solved the drug problem. My dad lived in a dungeon for 20 years, died at 67 years old, and that solved everything. Locking up my dad made everything better. So the Black and brown community, and now the white community in the last 3 decades, is really starting to understand, and I'm part of the white community too, so I'm talking about myself, is really starting to understand that they've created a criminal injustice industry where the cops are the tip of the spear, and now guys like myself are the tip of the spear in opposition against them. So these people are literally the tip of the spear down in Atlanta. And I hope that there is, as this story develops, I hope that there's a way to funnel support to them, because I'll do crowdfunders for them where we all throw in $5, $10, $100, whatever you got in your pocket that you can donate. So let's finish this article because this is super interesting. Meanwhile, the Cop City project is hardly local. It's being funded by numerous multinational corporations, including Wells Fargo, Bank of America. The Atlanta Police Department told Atlanta City Council that it intends to recruit 43% of trainees for the planned facility from out of state. Trainees. So they're going to train them how to kill us better and how to cover up the murders. We have to get rid of law enforcers in America. Last month, the Atlanta Community Press Collective released the names of the 6 officers identified with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations in connection with Tortuguita's killing, and published the link to the GBI report, which is here. So let's open that bad chicken over here on another panel. GBI. So just so you guys know, Georgia Bureau of Investigation spokesperson Nellie Miles said that the agency has not released the officers' names and cited the exemption under the state public records laws used to redact documents. The names were not redacted in the version of the report obtained by the Atlanta Community Press Collective, which said it got the documents from DeKalb County Medical Examiner's Office. They carefully exercised their First Amendment right and left the area. Foster, the attorney, said the activist distribution of the flyers. An unarmed activist died in a hail of gunfire in the woods, and now the state says it's felony intimidation to even talk about that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That is beyond the pale. So this is pretty much Cynic versus United States in 1919, redone in 2023. The city, the county, the state, the judge, everybody's working against these people. So incredible what we're seeing. Absolutely incredible. So, there was a video that I saw that I said, because I'm super dedicated to getting a couple things done right now. So I haven't been able to put some time into some things that I wanted to do. But since we have a couple of moments here, I want to show you guys this video that I saw, and it was so riveting to me. The video, I don't know the whole backstory. I don't know what's happened after this, but somebody sent me this video, and I want to give the person credit. They can shoot me an email and let me know who sent this to me. But this video is I'll let the guy tell his story, but it just goes to show that as long as we don't have cameras in the courtroom, which is what I opened up this broadcast with. Oh my God. Yeah. And then I watched the Hodge twins the other day. This is why people hate the cops. And it is, oh man, because just because I'm busy doesn't mean that I stop or I don't pay it. As I'm working, I'm listening to what's going on in the world. I'm not just listening to what's going on in the world. I'm also constantly educating myself on the law and on the procedures of law, because that's where we've seen over the past 2 years that my weakest part of me is current procedure of law. So I'm constantly getting into these motions that I'm filing now. And I'm learning constantly. So I never stop learning. I never stop watching new material, listening. If you guys send me a video that's really riveting, and you say, hey, you have to watch this, especially if I know who you are and I've seen it and I've seen your email before, then, I'll take a look at your video and I'll watch it. But I want to show you guys this video because this guy's confession and how the court railroaded him, and then what he says. I've already pulled up a couple other videos, but this video in particular was so riveting to me that I was like, oh my God, the people have got to see this video. This is super duper intense. The fact that they cheated him and he had to pay child support. There it is right here. Okay. Let me share this with you guys. You guys, this is gonna blow you away. This is the reason why we got to get cameras in the courtroom. Well, you have got to make sure you have some sort of device that makes sure you get the record. You shouldn't have to order transcripts. There should be some way that you got that recording, the audio or the video, or they're going to screw you. They're going to screw you in court. And if you don't believe me, well, listen to this guy's story. This is this is unbelievable, dude. This is probably one of the worst things I've ever heard in my entire life. What is that called? It's called Interview with Ricardo.
My name is Ricardo Rivera. I'm from Miami, Florida. And my story begins with the child support court. My son's mom calls me up and says, hey, I'm going to take you to child support court, which I agreed to it, and it was fine and dandy. So Montana gives me a call. She moved to Montana. Montana's going to start child support, and everything was fine and dandy. I said, well, me and her had a child. She called me a month later and told me that she was pregnant. So I said, okay, I filled out the paper to Montana and I asked for a blood test. When we enter the court system, Montana tells me no over the phone. They're not going to give me a blood test. I signed the birth certificate, so the child's mine, which they waived my rights. They said, no, you're not allowed a blood test. So Montana hits me with child support for $121 a month. And for the first 3 months, it's going to be $283. But after 3 months, it will go back down to $121, which is what they considered a catch-up period from when they came at me, sort of like in arrears. No time at all did it go down back to the 121. They kept charging me $283. They kept billing me with that. It was monitored by the United States Federal Probation Office because I came out of federal prison. So me and my son's mom, we speak on the phone. A year later, we decide we're going to work it out for the child's sake, and which would be good because I get to grow up with my child and see what it's like. And so we start living together, and in 2004, she has an affair with my boss. So she has a daughter from a previous marriage, and she tells me, listen, I leave the house, and I said, I'm going back to Miami. We were living in Sarasota, Florida at the time of that, when that took place. When I moved back to Miami, she says, hey, do you love my daughter? And I said, yes, I love your daughter. She's a great kid, and I'll try to do whatever I can to help her, if she ever needs me as, a friend. She goes, well, why don't you pay child support if you really love her? And I said, well, Sheila, she's not my daughter. To where she goes then and goes into the child support office, which I get in the mail, and they're coming after me for child support from Sarasota, Florida. And they're hitting me with four.
Did you hear that? He asked her, she asked him, do you love my daughter? And he says, yeah, I love my daughter.
She goes, well,
she goes, well,
why don't you pay child support if you really love her? And I said, well, Sheila, she's not my daughter. To where she goes then and goes into the child support office, which I get in the mail, and they're coming after me for child support from Sarasota, Florida. And they're hitting me with four years of back payment child support, stating that they're moving on a Montana order. So they contact me and say, do you have an order from Montana? And I said, yes, and I paid my child support. It was documented by the Federal Probation Office. They said, no, we have your Montana record, and you owe $14,150 in arrears. I said, no, something's wrong. So they issued the first court date. Before the court date, I contacted the United States Federal Probation Officer, Ashley Coxwell, who was my officer when I was on supervised release. He sends me several documents stating that, that they monitored me, that I was on child support, and that the federal government is my witness.
He's got receipts.
When we enter the first courtroom, I come with a whole bunch of receipts, money orders, showing that I paid child support. And I told the judge, I say, Your Honor, the other child support, the Federal Probation Office has it because now I'm paying child support. It's a violation of probation. The judge then looks at this order and says, well, we're moving on an order from Montana, and the Montana order shows zeros. Now, it was crazy because I kept telling her, listen, I have an order from Montana that has that the payments were made. So I contact Montana. Montana says, Mr. Rivero, you don't owe us anything. Your case has been closed with us since 2001. almost 2002. And I said, well, Sarasota's saying that I owe money for child support. They said, we don't have anything to do with whatever Sarasota's doing, which sounds very funny to me. So I take all my papers to a forensic investigator, corporate accountant. And he says, man, I see what's going on with you, Ray Horton. I'm going to check out your papers for free. Well, as you see what Sarasota's moving on, it's an order, not from Montana, but from Miami. It has her ex-husband, the daughter's father's, his case number right across the top, and says he never paid child support because he disowned the daughter. They billed me for it. So when I go into the second court, I tell the judge, Your Honor, I paid my money. The order from Montana will show it. I don't have this order. Montana's telling me they have nothing to do with what Sarasota's doing. She goes, well, there's something wrong with the order because Mr. Rivera showing payments. She asked Sheila Leo 3 times. When you were in Montana under oath, did you receive any money? 2 of the times she said no. Then the 3rd time, she says, okay, I did, but maybe for 1 month. The magistrate then says to the state attorney, who was Dave Taylor, he says he's on behalf of the Department of Revenue. He's Dave Taylor from the state attorney's office. But then I said, well, I send the federal probation file to your office. He goes, no, you send it to the Department of Revenue. I'm not with them. So throughout the whole court thing, this guy jumps back and forth. He doesn't know who he's working for, but he's calling Sheila Leo on the telephone, on her cell phone, and they're hanging out. He's an older gentleman. So then the Montana order, the judge says, there's something wrong with this order. The order keeps showing zeros, and Mr. Rivero now says he has proof of payments. The federal probation office sent them papers to the courts and said that they have proof of payments. And Sheila Leo now is stating that she received payments, but the order keeps showing 0, and the order has Humberto Echeverria's case number on it. So then they go back and they falsified some documents. Here on Exhibit B, that was done by the forensic investigator corporate accountant. They say this is an order from Montana showing I'm in arrears $14,150. So they're going by another guy's case number, not the case number that I have, and they're saying that it's a Montana order. Here goes Exhibit C. Once again, Sarasota case number, Montana documents, stating it's $14,150 of back payment child support. Another falsified document. So then what happens? We have Exhibit D. I grab that guy's papers. I go and I call the Florida, Harvey Rubin, Miami. I call their courthouse and I said, yeah, this case number right here, which is 99 DI. What's this? Oh, I can't even see it. 8. What is this, Jesse? 9C. Then go to the Miami courthouse, Harvey Rubin's courthouse. I hand them the documents. They hand me Humberto Echeverria's case.
It's not him.
So I go through the case and I make 5 copies of it. I hand it to my son. Yes, my son, because he was living with me. He runs out the courthouse. I stay with 1. When I give it to the lady, she says, you need to sign for this. I sign Ricardo Rivero, not Humberto Echeverria. She snatches it and says, hey, please tell me that you're Humberto Echeverria. I said, no, ma'am, I'm Ricardo Rivero. She goes, oh, my goodness, Sarasota has been charging you with this guy's case. And I said, well, I've been saying that since day 1. Here goes the guy's case with his case number. Humberto Echeverria, Sheila Echeverria, Daniela Echeverria, his daughter. As we proceed, here goes the same case number on his case that I managed to get from the Miami courthouse. With 25 cents, all they had to do was call that case number and figure out you're charging me with the wrong case. Remember the arrears? 0 with the guy's case number right on the top? That's what they were charging me with, stating that this is an order from Montana. So all these papers that say Montana 14,150, they were falsified documents. They used this guy's arrears to charge me with some papers that they said were from Montana, $14,150.
It's not him.
So then I keep contacting Montana, and I said federally subpoena them. I filed a federal lawsuit against them. After years of fighting them in state court, I filed 4 motions of 12.540, allowing the judges grace and escape, giving them a chance to cure their defects, which they keep denying it, and they keep saying, no, I got a 6th grade education. They deny me a reader. The Mrs. Pavillon from the Department of Revenue tells me, Mr. Rivero, who's doing your motions? We know you can't read and write. I said it on the Americans with Disabilities. I can't read and write. I got a 6th grade education. The judge says, oh, you'll do fine. You're going to be fine. She says, Mr. Rivero.
That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. How tenacious are you? So many people call me and say, I want to do this. I want to do that. You can do it. Just do it.
It doesn't fall in the same thing. Somebody's writing your motions. We know you can't read and write, but do you know numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4. Pay the money. Who's this gentleman next to you? I said, he's an ex-friend and he's going to be a reader for me. She goes, no, Your Honor, it's not in the same alphabet. And you can't have a reader. So she denied me that right under the Americans with Disabilities as well. So Montana then, Dave Lauderman, writes me this letter. He says, Mr. Rivero, I sent this letter to Sheila Leal. He told her, Sheila Leal, both parties were served. The money was collected.
So this guy, what he does is he goes down the line and he proves in different courtroom after different courtroom, different court case after different court case. And now I'm going to jump forward a few minutes. I'll drop the link in if you want to listen to the whole thing because it's 25 minutes. But now listen to
every member of Congress, you've done everything I have. Judicial qualifications wouldn't do nothing. The FBI wouldn't do nothing. Nobody would do nothing. Finally, they all got served. They're being defended by the state attorney's office. Dave Taylor. No, it's Mr. Fallbush. I've had several lawyers when I walk in look and say, what is this? This guy can't defend all these people. It's against the law. It is against the law. He can't defend all the same people.
So let me grab this link real quick. The theory of law, the law that you and I read and how the ATF got its power, which I wrote in a very long blog, detailed blog of how the ATF got its power. It works in theory, but the actual dismantling of, here's the link for that whole video. I want to show one more video here before I get off because this is another video that I saw that's about cops. It made me sick, but I wanted to show his video. His video is 10 years old. I'm really busy, but if someone wants to track this case down and see what happened with Ricardo, I would love to know more. At the end of this video, I'll just give you what he says at the end here.
Waste time. They send the whole case back down. The attorney asks for attorney. So there is no justice.
I'm just going to.
I doubt police officers are the ruling from the magistrate, but don't believe in laws, but let's see what's going to happen.
So here's his synopsis after all of the things he's done, after everything he's been through. Listen to how he feels about the criminal and justice industry.
They can't say the evidence isn't on the record now. I believe in 2000, before I entered the child support arena, I thought judges are fair. Judges are respectful men. They have honor, integrity. I thought police officers, cops just don't come at your door and pick you up unless you commit a crime. I thought there was some sort of justice. And now I know that it's just weak inductions. Justice for all, another weak induction. It's a lie. There is no justice. Judges do whatever they want. Cops are criminals. I filed several police reports of the crimes that were committed. The police would not do anything, write reports, and says, oh, we're sorry. Yeah, we see several police reports. We see the crime that was committed. They took note of the crimes that were committed, but they wouldn't do anything about it. The state attorney's office in Sarasota says, if the police don't walk the paper over, we won't do no arrests.
Across the street.
So, I mean, the state attorney's office won't arrest her for committing perjury. Police won't walk the papers literally across the street.
Across the street.
It's one big corruption. Congress is corruption. The cops are corruptions. And the majority of judges, they're all corrupt. Attorneys, don't go to none. They're corrupt. Very few that aren't corrupt. Everybody's getting paid. Either you're playing ball or you're out. If you're not going to play ball with them, you're out. It's not going to work. We need our country back.
This video is 10 years old. Someone can track that down. There's one more video I wanted to cover before I got out of here tonight. This is horrific. So this is horrifically bad. It's a 5-minute long video. I'll try not to interrupt it. I've already seen these videos. I want you guys to see them. It's super important. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Thanks you guys for the super chats. A few have come in. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm not like other creators where I don't read your super chat. I do say some names. Thank you, bro, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Jack, thanks a lot. Chevy super chat. If I turn on the live, Chevy will give a super chat. Thanks a lot, Chevy. I really appreciate it. Press with Ranker is here. Good to see you, Press. You have rights, cops have duties. What's going on? I've tried to call you back a couple times, bro. Your confidence is poquito. I want to show you guys one more video. And remember, t-shirts are in. If you guys want a t-shirt, you got to contact me. I'm going to do PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle only for t-shirts. T-shirts in. I think I have all sizes. I'm not sure. I owed 3 people t-shirts. I think 1 canceled. So I think I owe 2 t-shirts to people, but I want to make sure they get their t-shirts. If you didn't get one, it's been like 4 months. I love spreading the brand. I don't love putting t-shirts in mailers and sending them, but I want to share this video with you that I saw because it's a 5-minute video and it's going to make you sick. It's so bad. It's so bad. This video is so bad, and it's from a news outlet. So let's get right into it.
We begin with a News Channel 5 investigation that's raising questions about how a man with a troubled work history was able to get hired as a police officer. Investigative reporter Ben Hall took an in-depth look at the career path of an officer sued in connection with an inmate's death in Marshall County, and he found a long history of discipline.
The disturbing video went viral.
Stay down, you stupid son of a...
It shows several officers subdue William Jeanette, who refused to get into a restraint chair in the Marshall County Jail. Christopher Stallings' body cam shows him on Jeanette's back after he was handcuffed and in leg restraints, saying he could not breathe. Jeanette's last words were, "I'm good." Stallings quickly responded.
Oh, you ain't good. You gonna lay right there for a minute.
Yeah, he's going to lay there forever, bro. You killed him.
And as we first reported, a month before Jeanette's death, the department suspended Stallings for 2 days for yelling at a 10-year-old girl and putting her in handcuffs.
You better be glad that these are your parents, because you come at me that way, you walking away with a busted head.
You come into my house and you tell my kid that, bro, you're going to have problems.
The department found Stallings escalated the situation and got into an argument with a 10-year-old.
You want to fight like a grown woman? I will treat you like a grown woman, which means I will bust your head.
Oh, my God.
Do you understand? Yes, sir. Get her shoes on her before I lose my temper.
What?
Before becoming a police officer in Lewisburg, Stallings had a troubled history as a corrections officer in both Davidson and Bedford counties. In Davidson County in 2011, a fellow officer said, "I am in fear. I feel threatened. I do not feel safe in that hallway with him." The department separated the two, and Stallings received a written reprimand. In 2012, he was suspended for 5 days after he intentionally poked holes in coffee cups and placed them on the table for inmates to use, allowing hot coffee to pour through the holes. In 2013, Stallings was suspended for 24 hours, 2 full shifts, after admitting to losing his temper and taunting and cursing an unruly inmate. His supervisor blasted his behavior, writing he potentially caused the incident to escalate. A few months later, Stallings resigned, effective immediately, after yet another suspension for sleeping on duty. Stallings wrote, "Due to recent circumstances and situations partly beyond my control, I feel it is necessary to terminate my employment." The sheriff's office accepted his resignation and noted he is not eligible for rehire. Even though Stallings could no longer work as a jailer here in Davidson County, one of his supervisors wrote him a glowing letter of recommendation, which he used to get a job as a jailer in Bedford County in 2014. But the very next year, a fellow Bedford County officer reported that Stallings was cussing and yelling at an unruly inmate and pushed him down to the ground while he was handcuffed. After that, a supervisor told Stallings his employment at the jail was not working. The supervisor wrote, at that time, Officer Stallings stated that he would resign. He did not want his separation to read that he was terminated for an unsatisfactory job performance. Despite all that, Stallings applied to the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in 2017 and became certified as a police officer.
Just like that, he went to post, peace officer standards and training. He graduates post and he became a law enforcer. How does that happen?
Police officers wield an enormous amount of power over the lives of everyday Americans.
Duke University law professor Ben Grunwald has published articles calling for a national database listing disciplinary issues for people in law enforcement, even corrections officers.
And I think it's just as important for us to be tracking this kind of stuff for corrections officers as it is for law enforcement.
He says every state has its own laws regarding what is reported about the disciplinary histories of police officers. In Tennessee, the Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission, or POST, serves as the primary regulatory body for law enforcement. They must be notified.
Why are they law enforcers if they go to post?
When police officers are suspended 15 days or longer.
And that never happens. They're suspended for 14.
Or if they resign in lieu of termination.
So there's no reason to arbitrarily say if it's a suspension below 15 days, then we don't track it.
And sheriffs must report those things about deputies, but they do not have to report them about jailers. So Post did not know about Stallings' work history as a corrections officer when he went on to become a police officer.
If we're hiring officers who've done bad things in the past, that's one of the easiest predictors to know that they're going to do bad things in the future.
So when Lewisburg hired Christopher Stallings, there was no state record of his history as a corrections officer. And when he resigned from Lewisburg a week after the death of William Jeanette and a month after getting suspended for handcuffing a 10-year-old, neither would have been on his state record. 6 months after leaving Lewisburg, Stallings was hired by the Mount Pleasant Police Department, which called him their top applicant. We've learned Stallings has resigned from the city of Mount Pleasant Police Department in an agreement that gives him 2 weeks severance and overtime pay. In his resignation letter, he wrote he's leaving because of the current political climate and our continuing coverage. He wrote he did not want to damage the department's reputation. The city manager called him an exemplary employee in the time he's been there. Stallings ended the letter saying he will seek future employment in law enforcement or elsewhere. Ben Hall, News Channel 5, investigates.
So there it is. Like, what a joke. What an absolute joke. The fact is they can't get good men to sign up to be enforcers of law. You're getting now the rejects, the guys who couldn't pass before, who are now becoming the piggies because they can't get, and they're getting them young. And the line they're using is that they join the force to help people. Sorry, guys. Everybody has YouTube. We can see that you don't do that much helping while you do a bunch of punishing, charging, prosecuting, persecuting. You do all kinds of things that are really bad to people. So it's the reason why I'm here. The Boyer. What's up, Tom Shaw? What's going on? You have rights. Cops have duties. Angel, it's nice to see you. How is everybody? Rob, good to see you. Bronco Nation family. Scrubzilla, what is going on? Shock Professor, KT, what is going on? Katie, how are you? What is going on? DLZ Clips, everybody make sure you subscribe to the backup channel, Delete Lawz Clips. That's Colin over there. He's putting clips together for us. Doc, what is going on? Desade, what is going on? OTVO, can we put OTVO? Overturn Terry versus Ohio. We got to overturn that bad chicken. It is a bad chicken. Smack, smack, chicken. So, yeah. I'm doing some stuff for Constitutional Law Scholars so that I can teach you guys something that you'll be able to put in your pocket without having to buy my trifold. You should always have it on you anyway, so you should invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. The moment you start interacting with that copper, I lowered the price on these back down to $25, back down to $5.99 download. I got t-shirts in. Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk. I really appreciate it. KT, Press with Ranker. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Audit Them. I was in contact with Audit Them recently. Good to see him. Alan Hub. What's going on, Alan? DJ Smith. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for me. I think DJ, you've been a member before. I think you probably have to trade your credit card out or something. I just had to trade my credit card out. Such a bugger. Doc, what is going on? Rob, good to see you. I mean, it's so good to see everybody. It's good to see everybody. I'm sorry that I'm gone for so long. I'm just busy. I'm super busy. You know, as you guys can see, so 2 blog posts today, 2 more today. It takes a long time to make sure all the information in the blog post is correct and make sure everything is right and tight. And then I still have typos and spelling errors. I'm imperfect. OTVO, overturned Terry versus Ohio. All right, you guys, spread the word. I lowered the price back down to $25 for these indestructible trifles, $24.99 to be honest. And then $6 downloads. T-shirts are in. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. I'm not putting the T-shirts on my website. Contact me. I'll let you guys know how many I have in stock. I'm going to get the flock out of here. I'll see you guys on the next one. $35 for the T-shirt, $5 shipping and handling. $35 for the T-shirt. Someone just asked how much are they? $35 for the T-shirt, $5 shipping and handling. But here's the good news. This is not a Teespring T-shirt. This is a badass T-shirt. Try blend. These are nice. I don't sell crappy T-shirts that certainly not one I put in a bag and ship off to you. Now the bag's pretty low grade, just a piece of paper, but you're just going to tear it open. All right. I'll get the flock out of here. Chevy. Thanks for coming, Chevy. I miss Cope Doggy Dog. Where's Cope Dog? Did I see Jeff Hates Pigs? Gloria. I'm just having a good time with my friends and family here. You know, there's people who Scrubzilla, Shock Professor. Who else do I got in here tonight? A subject there is Claudette, Ken, Steve. What's going on? Will, good to see you. Lance, what is going on? Lance, good to see you. Nice to see you. You have rights. Cops have duty. Jack, Richard, Brandon, what is going on? I love Yahweh. Claudette, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Jimmy, Core Instincts. Keep going, my friend. Keep going. I will. Rick, thanks you for coming. Tom Shaw, as I said earlier, good to see you. Subject of the, I'm just reading some names here. Thank you guys for coming. I don't know if that's a troll, so I won't say their name. But, you know, whatever. Whatever. Rich and Richard, Mike and Wendy, good to see you. Good to see you, Mike and Wendy. Nice. Thanks for coming to this talk. I really appreciate it. I will get the flock out of here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later, Gators. Mikey. Later, Bruce. Later, Greg. V. Boyer. Deborah. DLZ Clips. Good night. Later.